Well, we're back at it again today. Where we left off the last time was we had the roof ready to start going back together, and that's still where we're at. Picked up some sound deadening, you can see back here, and I thought I'd go ahead and slap that on while I had it apart. But in order to get that ready for the sound deadener to stick to it good, I've cleaned it up a little bit more. Want to make sure we get good adhesion, and I sprayed it with another coat of the rust treatment, and I'm letting that dry. And then we'll go ahead and we'll put on the Dynamat. Had some Dynamat on the shelf from an older project and thought I might as well stick that on there.
With the roof clean and dry, I could go ahead and start applying my sound deadener. Installation straightforward, simply remove the backing and stick it down. It was just a little bit cold in my shop, so I applied some heat with the torch just to make sure the glue was good and tacky. And then using the backside of a screwdriver, I worked my way around the material, just making sure it was good and stuck down all the way around.
Put the Dynamat sound deadener up on the roof. And I talked about using this, which came off of our donor cab, but the longer I thought about that, the more I thought that was a terrible idea. So I ordered some insulating foam off of Amazon, which is actually made to be used in conjunction with a sound deadener like Dynamat or Hushmat or Killmat, any of those that you might choose. And there's a number of brands on there of stuff just like this. Some of it gets really expensive. I think this was called Purcell, and this sheet is 60 by 40, I think, inches. And it was $27. So I thought that was cheap enough. Some of the same types of material were up over $70, and I was having a hard time justifying that. But for $27, I did pick the insulation up. And having the opportunity to insulate that against heat primarily, it's kind of a one-shot deal. I mean, you can do some stuff from the inside, but you know, there's no reason not to do it now. We'll go ahead and put it on there. Hopefully it helps. So one of the things that I've seen them talk about with this sound deadener stuff is the smell. I don't notice any smell. Super sticky stuff though. Okay, so it's my understanding that the butyl type of sound deadener, like we put down first with the Dynamat, that's for your vibration dampening and noise cancellation. Not so much the heat. I mean, obviously it would help some, but the way I understand it is this type of material specifically is what you would use thereafter to control the heat. So we've gone about as far as we can. We've done both layers, good as it's gonna get. Here's kind of where I find this now. When I took the top off, I just cut, you know, up here with that cutoff wheel to quickly remove it. But I still need to come through and expose the spot welds all along that pleat and remove this material all the way across there in preparation of, you know, coming back on with the new piece. So that's what I'll work on this afternoon. Looks like it's probably going to be a real joy. So we'll see how it goes. with the camera shut off, so you didn't see, but I went ahead and finished peeling off the rest of what was left of the old cab, and actually went ahead and ran a wire brush across all of this, treated it with another round of rust converter, and in this case there's Duplicolor's Rust Fix. I don't know a lot about it. I hope it works. I had it, so it's on there. And now where we are, we'll run across the bottom of this fairly quickly and see if we can just make sure that we're still straight and we don't have any problems later down the road. It's not too bad. If the camera will focus, you can see a couple of areas, maybe just right in here, you know, run across that quickly, the hammer and dolly, and get it as good as we can. But all in all, should be doable. Okay, I've got a few things I need to do still yet to this donor cab before we actually start welding it on there. I need to go through and fill all the holes where the drip edge screws went through it. I've got one area right here that tore because I didn't have a spot weld completely cut. And when I pulled up on the top, I tore a hole there. I'll use this homemade copper paddle to run along the back side. Hopefully that'll allow me to fill those holes in as easily as possible without blowing through too much. So let's see how that goes. So we've got a good bit of weld on that now. We'll take that back down with the grinder wheel, but I believe we sufficiently got it filled. One up here just a bit. I think for now we'll stop on that and kind of revisit it once we get it laid on the cab. Okay, we've got it laying up here, and I think what I want to do is I want to put some tacks on it. I want to push it down into place, put some tacks on it, tape off a nice straight line, and come back through and cut again all the way across so that we can make these two seams match, and that way we can flush weld them and get them in place, and that way we don't have a lap weld. Or anyway, I think a butt weld would be the way to go on this. And so that's what we'll do, work on getting our seam straight, work on getting it in place.
So what had actually happened was our top was hitting our foam. So I took the soapstone wheel and buzzed it off, almost like they do when they're building seat cushions. I guess it actually sanded down just fine. But I think we have enough room for our top to clear, so let's set it on there and see how it looks. So here you can see we're starting to go back together. It's laying in nice and tight. Got a lot of welding ahead of us here, but it's gonna be okay. Okay, we've been at this for a bit now, and we're slowly gaining ground. Like I thought, this was a bit of a challenge. Still don't know exactly what we've got there until we get it ground down, but basically we just go alternating back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until we get a tack laid in on top of the one ahead of it. Get your tacks stacked up the best you can. Then we'll come back. And see if we missed anything. And if we did, we'll fill it in. Now that we've got the tops of those welds knocked off with the bigger grinder, I can get a little more accurate with this smaller flap disc on the die grinder. Okay, let's take a look here. You can see where we've still got some more work to do, but by and large, you know, we're getting there as far as having it welded together and filled back in. Now I have to come across this, you know, in the later stages and work on this just a little bit more, of course, to get it flat. And then, you know, we're gonna have to use body filler. So some people frown on that, the purists do. But I guarantee you 90% of the vehicles out there have body filler in them. So let's get back to it. Well, we've made it all the way around the side and the door. And we've tied into the A-pillar. Just need to smooth it up. Keep trucking. feel like we got that fitting about right. We'll go ahead and weld it in there and clean it up. I mixed up some of the fiberglass reinforced filler, and I'm using my fingers just because I feel like I can get that pressed down in there, you know, positively with my individual fingertip as opposed to a spreader. So that first pass that I make, I'll just use my finger to make sure that I get that pressed down in there, and can feel pretty confident that I got it each individual pinhole or seam field. I went around and put the fiberglass reinforced filler over the seam. And so we'll be ready to knock that down and then come back over it with our filler. Still looks kind of rough. It's all part of it. Getting there. I think that's where we'll end today's video. That video's getting kind of long, so you can kind of see what you're going to be getting into if you do go ahead and decide to replace your roof skin. Not too bad of a deal. The biggest deal for a lot of you is probably going to be just having the time to sit down and work on it. Same thing for me today. There's always something going on, and you know, it takes time. It's easy to get frustrated, but we've about got that part whipped. All we got to do is block it and you know, then primer and on with the project. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments below, like and subscribe. Thanks.